Opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Scarefest Radio, the radio you can see.
And hello and welcome everyone to another fun-filled episode of Scarefest Television. I'm your host, Wes Forsyth. The original broadcast date is like Blur's Day, the umpteenth of Toyotathon. Who the fuck knows anymore? Anyway, it is May 1st, 2020, and we're broadcasting to you from deep within the quarantine zone. And tonight we have special guests Christopher and Rachel Booth. They will be it will go off the rails. It will go off the rails. It's almost guaranteed. And then, of course, my co-host tonight is sporting his new haircut, co-host Chad Harlan. Hello, Chad.
Hey, how are you? I just figured my head needed to look bigger on screen, so...
Your head could not look any bigger on screen if we put the camera on your glasses. That being said, I want to compliment you on the fact that your hair is already growing back in. That
yeah, both of them.
That shows a certain virility on your part that just cannot be avoided. Everybody, we do have a celebrity announcement tonight. Gonna sneak that one in on you. We didn't put it in the post because we didn't confirm it until like 10 minutes ago. But FYI, we have a celebrity announcement. What else the hell do we have going on? Oh yeah, we have contest results. The contest that Nicole Griffith launched on Thursday night got more damn entries than any of them. But I'll explain why I think that was when we do it. We're going to do that at the bottom of the hour, everybody. At the 30-minute mark, we'll have our contest results. We will have our celebrity announcement. And in the meantime, we have Christopher St. Booth and his lovely wife, Rachel Murray. Hello, folks.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah. Everybody just gonna get sick of listening to me because it's the whole idea of this broadcast is just for me to spend the next hour flirting with Rachel and just letting Chris and Anita referee us so we don't get out of hand. That's pretty much all I ever do. I think anybody who's been to Scarefest knows you too. Even if they're not a fan of the genre, it's impossible not to know Chris and Rachel because you've been there forever, and you bring all your little haunted toys now, and so I want to welcome you all back to the show. Oh, that your IQ just shot up like 10 points just by doing that.
Hey, I'm competing with you, my friend.
Well, how is it's gonna be small talk, people. I've ran out of questions to ask this couple over all the times I've interviewed them. So I'm just, how's quarantine treating you?
It looks like it's doing pretty good, right? Well, there's waking up. I guess.
I have no idea what fucking time it is.
Or day.
You say that, but every week for the last 3 weeks, I have lost a freaking day. It usually shows up about Thursday, and I'm like, it's what? It's Thursday? There's no way it's Thursday. I have lost Tuesday or Wednesday every week for at least 3 weeks. They just poof, just disappear.
Aliens. It's aliens.
It could be. I'm but the anal probe does kind of sound like something that could break the monotony at this point.
Well,
okay. Okay, now, undoubtedly, because now see, me and Anita have been married for like a gazillion years, so
35, babe.
35. That's what I meant. I meant to say 35 years. And so we've been antisocial for years, but you all are you're on the road like every weekend. So I'm going to ask you each individually. I'll start with Chris. What little, we'll call it a habit or little character flaw or whatever, what used to only annoy you a little bit that now makes you just want to put a gun in your mouth, Chris?
About me?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Where do I begin?
Just pick one. No, just pick one. It doesn't even have to be the worst one.
Me off the next auction now. Thanks. Yeah.
Which is the one that does it the worst?
Which one? Oh, that's it.
For the record, if this goes south, you wouldn't be the first marriage I've ever broken up. I did one of those just right out of the gate after we got married. It was some woman let her husband get drunk with me at a party, and we were assholes. That's just all there is to it. And they got divorced like 6 months later. I always took credit for it.
To be honest, there's nothing really that does that. I'm kind of used to everything that she's thrown my way, and it's all pretty good, to be very honest with you. I'm trying to think of some dirt on you, and I can't.
He must be intoxicated.
No.
Okay, I can see the honesty in Rachel's eyes. Rachel, same question about Chris.
Yeah. Then that maybe will inspire me to dirt you.
I haven't had enough alcohol for that question. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I've been dealing with shit since day one too. So I think our relationship started in the middle of a film production, and if you don't see anybody's bad side, like right in production, then you don't see it.
Dead Still, when we shot Dead Still, that was a tough picture to do. Out of all the films we've done, Dead Still was a really tough picture to do.
I think within the first month of our relationship, I saw you very angry. And
Nicolas Cage angry.
No, like watching Mandy angry. And that scared the crap out of me. I'm not gonna lie. So I think I've seen it all.
Okay. I was gonna wait till I'll toss it to Chad after this question. Now, how long have you all been married?
I want to see your answer first, because I know.
Almost 7 years.
No, that's okay.
All right.
No, almost 6 years. We've been together 7.
Oh, isn't it 7 though in July?
No, we got married.
You're still honeymooners.
It's in July?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
You're still honeymooners. I could have done the first 7 years standing on my head. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Chad, over to you.
Well, it's great to talk to you all. It's been a while since Scarefest that I got to see you, so it's a pleasure. I know Wes has got to interview several times now, but I haven't had that honor yet. So I'll start out with just saying, actor, producer, writer, director, actress, artisans. You're probably the biggest Renaissance couple in this industry, or at least on the convention tour. How did you find your interest in the paranormal, horror, those genres?
Well, for me, I've always been into horror. When we were young, I think I started, watching The Exorcist, and then watched a lot of Ridley Scott type films, which were not necessarily horror, but those were the high production movies that I really got into. Alien, Terminator, and then also David Lynch films. And David Lynch, he's pretty weird, so I just liked the weirdness, and I kind of saw everything in a different angle. So we did a lot of horror movies, and then the paranormal seemed to pop up when we were doing a horror movie. When we did Death Tunnel, we got our first activity there, And then after that, I was hooked. So that's kind of how it all started.
From that, how did you get into the haunted artifacts that you're doing now with the bazaars?
The haunted artifacts kind of fell into place. It was kind of like we were
looking for props for filming, and the real items just happened to fall into Christopher's lap. I mean, it was like I would be like, oh, so did we find something for this shoot? You know, because we need this, this, and this. And he's like, oh, you won't even believe what I found. And he would say, oh, we found this. And I'm like, are you kidding? Did you buy it? He's like, it's already on its way. And it just
I don't think that we go out to look for it. It seems to look for us. It's like we started with the Exorcist Diary, a copy of that when we did the Exorcist file. And that was overwhelming to have the real piece of history in front of you. And then little things came up, but then the Annalise McKell, Emily Rose real exorcism box ended up in our house, and that started it. And then we started collecting, and then we had too much, and so we better sell some of this stuff, otherwise I can't feed Rachel. And by the way, Rachel eats a lot. There you go. That's one of the things.
Yeah, I had to hire 3 people to put me in this corset today because of all the quarantine eating I've been doing. Yeah, it's unreal.
I think we all know that struggle.
Yeah, but
I had a hard time getting in my corset too.
I would like to see that.
Yeah.
Well, before I throw it back over to Wes for our commercial should be coming up, I am going to ask, please quit posting creepy dolls. Every time I open my Facebook feed, you guys freak me out.
Oh, trust me. And he's like, here, open this box with the creepy doll. And I'm like, no.
You can't see, but we're actually right around us. We're actually in the basement where we've turned into another studio. There are many, many creepy things and dolls everywhere right now.
Yeah, I'm like, no, stop bringing dolls home, dude.
It's the creepiest doll.
I didn't come in a box.
With that, I'll toss it back to Wes for our first commercial.
Everybody, we'll be right back. Akashic Awareness is a metaphysical healing and learning center unlike any other. A large selection of crystals, gems, and minerals greet you as you walk in the door, but from that point onward, the journey is yours. They offer a great selection of metaphysical tools, state-of-the-art holistic healing, with classes and lectures scheduled throughout the month. Akashic Awareness is open Tuesday through Saturday, noon until 6:30, 7 on Friday and Saturday. Visit their website for a current calendar of their almost daily special events and guests at akashicawareness.com. And while you are there, be sure to join their email list to stay current. Akashic Awareness, 328 Sycamore Street, Elizabethtown, Kentucky.
How's it going, everybody? Hope you're having a great night. I've got another juicy movie lined up for you. This one is actually from 2012. I figured that I've been stuck in the 1970s and the 1980s for too many weeks in a row. So for the next few weeks, I'm gonna give you things that are a little more contemporary. And this one is an absolute belter. Let's take a look. So as I said, this one was made back in 2012, and you might recognize both of the lead actors in this one. The smaller guy is Damon Harriman, who starred as the racist redneck in the American TV series Justified, and he also played Charles Manson in both Mindhunter and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And the bigger guy is Angus Sampson, who was in all of the Insidious movies, as well as the second series of Fargo, as well as Walking Dead, and these guys are pretty famous down here. And in this movie, 100 Bloody Acres, they star as 2 brothers who run a fertilizer company, and they discover that the secret to the perfect fertilizer is human bodies. So naturally, they entrap tourists passing through the area, and they butcher them for business. As the trailer might suggest, this is a very gory movie. It's also very funny. In fact, it has a really strong Aussie flavour that may be less accessible for some people, but When you invest in the narrative, you will discover a really quirky world of murder and mayhem, and I think the best way to describe it is like a comical riff of Wolf Creek. Well, more comical than Wolf Creek was, because I think Wolf Creek was pretty damn funny, at least part 2 was. Anyway, 100 Bloody Acres. It was directed by the Cairns brothers. They went on to make another shocker called Scare Campaign, about a reality show, a bit like Fear Factor, that was being shot inside an abandoned lunatic asylum. But anyway, these guys have a flair for theatrics, and this film in question is one hell of a good time. Lots of severed limbs, lots of sticky guts, and an overdose of slapstick mischief. You know where to find it, Amazon Prime, that's where you go. I hope you do have a look at this one. I think you might get a lot out of it. It is cheeky, to say the least. And before I leave you, I need to plug a show. This week on Good Movie Monday, I have a really exciting episode lined up. I'm going to be interviewing the legendary cult horror director Richard Stanley, and we're going to be talking all about his brand new film starring Nicolas Cage, The Colour Out of Space. Now, this was my favourite film of last year, so it's going to be a really awesome episode. I hope you guys tune into it. That is Good Movie Monday, which for you guys is actually Sunday at 4 p.m. That's the way the world works, I guess. And anyway, that's it for now. I'll catch you the same time next week. Have a great one.
And welcome back, everybody, to Scarefest Television. We're talking to Christopher and Rachel Booth. I wish I could say the Booths better, but my mouth just doesn't work that way. Ooh, creepy dog, creepy dog. Oh, Chad, that's what your hair used to look like.
It was bigger, but
Seriously.
I feel like I should be
That's
talking to Chad
crazy.
because he shaved his off, everybody. But I'm at the Sheldon stage. Mine's getting long enough now. I'm wanting to go like that all the time because it's starting to hang down to my forehead and it just drives me nuts. Okay, back to Chris and Rachel. Okay, being the webmaster for the Scarefest, among my many, many other duties, one thing that I every year when we announce you all, I struggle with whether to stick you on the horror celebrity page or the paranormal celebrity page. What do you, when you think of doing a con, do you consider yourself, do you look at what you're doing now more with the haunted dolls and all that, or do you really wish that we'd stick you on the horror page with because of all your movie cred?
I think we're both. You know, I think that.
Yeah, but you don't get two banners.
Horror,
answer the damn question.
No! No!
he yelled at me.
I know.
I don't
That
get to do
was
that.
awesome.
I would rather go with horror because paranormal, to me, some of it today is a little silly. And the horror can be paranormal. And all our movies really are horror related with paranormal. So, you know, if I had my way, it'd be horror.
Well, you have your way. I will next web update. I will move your banner.
She can be on the paranormal page. I can be on the horror page.
We could do it that way. But I get paid by the banner, so.
Okay.
Now, from the chat room, serious question. Now, okay, looking back at the films you've made, is there anybody that you worked with, actor-wise or actress-wise, that really stands out? I hate to say favorite, but somebody that you enjoyed working with so much that, and don't you dare say her, you little suck up. I don't get to treat normal guests like this.
Yes. I'll tell mine because you can say that.
Mine's Ray Weiss, though. He's
Matthew McGrory, the chap that was the giant, played Tiny in 1,000 Corpses, Rob Zombie's film, and also Devil's Rejects, and also played in Big Fish. He was a beautiful chap. He was in our first movie we made, Dark Place, and he is about almost just under 8 foot. He was an incredible man, and I remember because he used to call me and say, hey, meet me at the bar and we can have a drink. Of course, all I ever do is work, and I couldn't meet him. And I felt really bad because the week after he passed away in Las Vegas, but he was such a sweet guy. He was so cute. And I used to drive him around in my Range Rover on the set, and we had to pull the front passenger seat out of the car so he could even fit in, because he had to sit in the very back. And so he's my favorite. And yours, Flo?
Oh, I love Ray Weiss. I always thought he was awesome. So when one of the jobs was I had to call the actors before filming started to kind of say, okay, this is what we're going to be doing on set and going over like character things and stuff. So I'm like, the phone is ringing for Ray Weiss, right? And I'm just like freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to talk on the phone with Ray Weiss. Oh my God. Like I always thought he was awesome from like Twin Peaks. And
but remember when he showed up?
Oh my God, he was like perfect. Like he had grown out his beard. Like he was so professional. He had all of his lines like down.
Here's something you didn't know, actually. If you saw the movie Dead Still, there's a guy named Wenton who played the Death Victoria photographer. He was the grandfather that, he gave the camera away to, obviously his grandson. But he was supposed to be played by Sid Haig. Sid Haig actually, God bless him, rest in peace, was going to play him, but apparently our first script had a nude role written in it, and he didn't want to do a nude role. So that changed, and Ray Weiss took over. But I tell you, when he showed up, he had grown in his beard.
He looked so great.
Oh, he was smashing. We actually wanted him to keep his beard.
I know, right?
He looked so charming. He was brilliant.
He was. I remember watching him on set. Like everything was perfect to a T. And then somebody else would mess up, and he would just get frustrated because he comes in and he's so professional. And, he does his job, and to go over and do it all again, it's like, oh, that was perfect from him. But it was really a pleasure to watch him work, and especially with everyone. He was so kind, always thanking everybody for working hard.
True professional.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Neat story. I can relate a little bit about you having to call him, Rachel, because as many people as I speak to on the show, I don't get starstruck, except maybe a little bit with Tiffany Shepis, but that was more of a hot chick thing than a fandom thing. But we had John Kassir booked, and he had to call and reschedule. And he calls me up on the phone, and I had never spoken to the man before, and he calls me on my actual cell phone, and it starts talking to me like, we're old buddies, and it tingles down my leg. That's the way I can describe it. Just to have someone recognize me for the hard work that I do. Chad, we're going to come over to you now.
Okay. Well, now that you've shown us a creepy doll, I know that you've been doing quite a few of the auctions lately, and I'm sure you have another one coming up shortly. What's some of the stuff you've got that people can expect to see in that? Some of your favorite items that will mystify and creep us all out.
We have different things every time we do an auction. We really didn't do too many auctions until obviously the this COVID thing kicked in and stopped us some of doing a lot of the shows. But we do a lot of medical, old antique asylum. Oh, there's some really cool stuff. Let me.
We'll wait. That's fine.
No.
No. Wow, in my face. Hello.
This is Amityville horror crime photos. I hope it's upside down. No, it's not. There it is. But what I got recently, which is pretty cool,
Don't know if you can see that.
is this is a letter from Ronnie DeFios, the killer, from prison. And I recently purchased this. It's actually to his ex-wife, but it was his wife at the time. And it's a letter stating how much she loved her, and whatever you do, don't mention you're married to me because that'll change everything. So some kind of real weird shit in there. Something I just got, which I am excited about. If you saw the movie Session 9, which is all about that that Danvers State Hospital that, was demolished, I was able to get real patient records, a key, and a part of the broken asylum window, the mesh, as well as a lot of other things from them. And I have those now, which is really cool.
The seclusion files are really
And
cool.
nobody's got this kind of stuff that we haven't. I think what we're proud of is that we have an incredible variety of stuff, whether it's voodoo, witchcraft, spiritual, religious icons, Catholic, Christian, whatever, Buddhism, all kinds of stuff. But I'm proud because we have different stuff than anybody else has. What would you think that we? Oh, and also your beautiful jewelry. Your jewelry, right?
No need to say anything. He summed it up.
Yeah. That's right. But you make different kinds of jewelry all the time, right?
Yeah, just kind of happens like there, and it happens. I don't know. You kind of like said everything.
Seeing your booth at the shows and the online stuff you post, you have amazing stuff that you're bringing to the table. And like I said before, artisans, the art you both produce is beautiful. The photographs, the films and stuff too. But the photographs and the jewelry and all that you bring such amazing stuff that's different than you can see at any other booth. So it's always interesting to see what you have. It's one of my favorite first stops every time I walk in the door at Scarefest.
We put a lot of passion in everything we do, and it doesn't really matter the sum amount of money to be made from it. As long as we can make a living, we're fine. But we put a lot of passion into what we do.
It's being excited about what we do when we wake up, and to be able to have people own some of that excitement that we have in our life too is really cool, because we can share that with other people, whether it's our love, our passion, our caring, we're able to put that into what we do. And that's really exciting. And all of our fans and like people that come and see us at Scarefest are always so loving. They're like our family. And so it's nice to have new things to bring to them, even if they're just looking at stuff, just to enjoy a conversation about a new item.
Scarefest is truly one of is our favorite show we do every year because of the energy and the beautiful people. And it's just like one good turkey day where the family gets together with nobody fights. Yeah, where nobody fights.
Well, that you see, right? But everybody's like drunk and having fun.
Well, your all's passion and stuff, like I said, very much comes through when anybody interacts with you and sees you. So it's always a pleasure. Let me toss it back over to Wes. It should be about time for another commercial.
You got your timing down good. We'll be right back, everybody, with more Scarefest Television. Everyone is talking about CBD oil, and it seems like almost everyone is using it. The research is ongoing, but the apparent health benefits are overwhelming. If you're going to use CBD products, though, what brand should you buy? First, find out where the hemp was grown. Imports are flooding the market. How potent is it? Look for a brand that plainly states its concentration on the label. And look for full-spectrum CBD. This means the oil contains CBD and all the other cannabinoids, terpenes, and nutrients that are found in the entire cannabis plant. Look for Blue Leaf CBD oil. Blue Leaf Naturals is a Kentucky proud company. They use only Kentucky-grown hemp, supporting Kentucky farmers and businesses. Visit their website at blueleafcbd.com now and use the code SMILE at checkout for free shipping.
This week in horror history, Scarefest fan favorite Kane Hodder says goodbye to Jason Voorhees in his final appearance as the horror icon with the release of Jason X. This sci-fi slasher film takes Jason to outer space, where he is awoken in the year 2455 aboard the spaceship Grendel. As per his usual, Jason wreaks havoc on unsuspecting crew members, and audiences are introduced to his futuristic counterpart, Uber Jason. Upon its release, Jason X was met with negative critic and fan reviews, as many thought the film was poking fun at itself and the film's franchise. However, in more recent years, younger fans to the film series have praised its ability to poke fun at itself, and the film has grown in popularity. This week, we take a brief look back at the life and legacy of the master of suspense himself, Alfred Hitchcock. With a career spanning over 6 decades and over 50 films, it's easy to see why Hitchcock is one of the most influential filmmakers of all time. Hitchcock became known for his use of camera angles and the way he framed his shots, which created an atmosphere that maximized the audience's anxiety and fear, and his techniques became known as the Hitchcockian style. Throughout his career, his films got a total of 46 Oscar nominations and 6 wins, along with numerous other awards and praises. A year before his death, Hitchcock was awarded the AFI Lifetime Achievement Award, and there's no doubt that without him and his filmmaking, horror and suspense would not be what it is today. Hitchcock has been gone for 40 years as of this week, but he will never be forgotten.
And welcome back, everybody, to Scarefest Television. We're gonna announce the winners of our photo contest, which is basically make a meme out of some photos we provided from The Shining. Then as soon as we get done announcing that, then yes, we're going to give you a celebrity announcement, and then we will get back to the lovely Rachel Booth. Okay, I didn't go ahead and download all the photos because screw my life. That's kind of the way my schedule went today. But I do have our winners loaded, in I would say no particular order, but it's actually the way they look best on my my production screen without special effects. So here are your 3 winners, and I'll tell you what place they came in. We got first up, we got my face when buying off Amazon versus my face checking my bank account. That was a very apropos meme, we all thought. Now, another one that is in the running, and this is kind of new to quarantine, the first Zoom meeting after quarantine started versus the 37th Zoom meeting after quarantine. Similar thought process, similar and same background photo, but a little different thing. We did enjoy that one. And finally, now this one's hard to read. This one, you would have had first place if you'd used a different color font. I'm just going to stick it out there and say it, but quarantine got me knocking on my own door for company. Quarantine got me knocking on my own door for company. We thought it was a very fun, original idea and very, very, very appropriate for the contest. Now, before I announce a winner, first of all, everybody go to the Scarefest page on Facebook, scroll down a couple notches, find the contest, because it is, we had some great entries. Now, it's funny, we didn't announce this contest till Thursday night. In 24 hours, we had more entries than we've had in any of our contests, which just proves to me that if you give something they can do without putting down their damn phone, they will do it. So anyway, first place winner, we decided we're going to go with shopping on Amazon versus your bank account. That is our first place winner. You'll get a $50 gift card. I didn't even get the names off of it. You're on. Nicole knows who won. She'll get it. The Zoom meeting. Zoom meeting was a close tie. We were bouncing back and forth. We couldn't decide, but we decided that Zoom meeting and knocking on the door are our runners up. Zoom meeting and knocking on door. This was a really close contest. We actually put some thought into this. We I think all 4 judges had the same memes, but in different order. So we had to kind of, actually I had one that I liked. I'm going to give you an honorable mention. You don't win a damn thing, but it was the one about the parents making noise at 3 a.m. or whatever. The knocking noise at 3 a.m. in your parents' bedroom. I thought that was damn cute. Now, for our celebrity announcement, coming to Scarefest the 13th, Scarefest 2020, Scarefest X and a whole bunch of I's if you prefer Roman numerals, Mr. Lou Temple. Mr. Lou Temple. Now, you remember him from season 3 of The Walking Dead, for all you non-snobbish horror people that watch The Walking Dead. But he had a great part in The Walking Dead season 3. I'm trying to remember the name. I've got a couple. I'm not going to dick it up. But he's also Devil's Rejects. He was in 31. He was in his most recent one that would fall into our category is Feral. I'm actually going to try to find that on Amazon Prime and see if I can't watch that in the next day or two. Of course, and he was what's the name of it? Oh, I don't see it now. But anyway, so he's got horror chops, is what I'm telling you. He's got horror chops. Trailer Park of Terror. Trailer Park of Terror. I cannot read your writing when you don't write it over top of other words, let alone. Oh, okay, you're wanting me to. And yes, everybody, he will be our guest next week on Scarefest Television. So we're going to do a Q&A. Pay attention, everybody. We're actually going to be watching the chat room very closely for questions for Mr. Lou Temple, who will be coming to Scarefest 2020, Scarefest the 13th, Scarefest XIII, October 23rd through 25th, in the Central Bank Center. Yeah, that's the name of it. Lexington Convention Center. That's all anybody needs to know. Okay, everybody, we're going to get back to the booths now. First of all, although I have to call Renaissance couple. Oh, God.
You wish you had thought of it.
Most of the questions from the chat room for y'all are about the Haunted Bazaar. This whole project of yours is it's interesting. I just can't imagine keeping that shit in my house, but and I'm into the paranormal. I'm a bad psychic. Do what?
It's unbelievable. I tell you, every time he opens another box, like I'm up all night hearing new noises that weren't there before. And I'm like, damn it, Chris, will you stop bringing the shit in the house?
I thought it was the vibrator.
Oh my God.
That's cute backstory. That's actually the only reason they sell them, everybody. That's any of this stuff is because it just absolutely drives them nuts.
I can't listen to the people walking up the stairs anymore. Get rid of the damn doll.
See, I as a pseudo psychic, I have a firm no ghost rule in my house, and that includes bringing haunted objects in. No, it just I don't want to deal with it at home. Have you ever brought anything in? Of course, I realize with your all's rainbow fart personalities that would probably just like exercise it on the spot. But have you ever brought anything in that actually had you worried?
Oh, there's something I'm looking at right now I fucking hate. So there's that.
Yeah, and you said it in front of the ghost, so that can't go sideways at all.
Well, the Annalise McKell, which is the Emily Rose box, I would have thought we'd be worried about, but it actually put out really good energy. But there was one haunted suitcase that came from a mental asylum, and he made this doll look like himself. His
possessed.
Yeah, his self-profile, and it's got a book that what he went through, and it has the worst energy in the world. Yeah. We keep it locked actually in the basement.
Salted. I sage it occasionally just because it makes me feel sick, and it can't be open at all.
I think that will go away, and as soon as we try to figure out what really went on, which is obviously going to be very hard. You can only go by, obviously what's in the book and where we got it from, and what we try to find in the archives. But it's pretty bad energy, I think.
I could tell one day he brought it upstairs and had it sitting out because we were going to do a live on it. And I didn't even know like he had brought it up yet. And I was like, I called him. I said, Chris, did you bring the suitcase upstairs from the basement? And he goes, yeah. And I said, you got to put it back downstairs into the live. I couldn't even.
And also,
it changed the whole house.
Don't you notice when I spend time in the basement, I turn into like Jack Nicholson?
Yeah, he like Dr.
Shining.
Jekyll and Mr. Hyde's out.
Yeah.
And so I have to sage his ass before he comes upstairs.
I like that though.
No, no, not okay. I'm just gonna shoot him with a rock salt pellet.
I made the offhand sideways remark about the unicorn parts and rainbows and everything, but I will throw this out there that I do think that people that exude positive energy tend to, I guess for lack of a better terminology, if there's any positivity about a spirit or an object or whatever, I would think that would bring that out. In other words, so in a way, I'm not real surprised that you two, in particular, don't have a lot of trouble with it. If I brought them into my house, the fucking walls would bleed. Because I just...
No, seriously. There's times where I'm sitting on the couch and I'm like, no, go back downstairs. I'm not, no, go away.
There's actually a meme going around right now. Do you ever just stare at a corner of the room just to make them think you can see them? Give them like the stink eye?
Oh, no, I do see them, so that's not okay.
Okay, well,
see them
all the freaking time. I'm like, leave me alone. Enough with you.
I'm not afraid.
I understand that emotion.
And I'm not talking about Chris. I'm talking about the spirit.
See, now, quarantine has not been that. I'm missing hugging people, and I don't even like hugs. That's where I'm at. But yeah, tease me, woman, tease me. No, really, but I look at people like you that it seemed like, I put it this way, whenever we were trying to schedule you for the show, most of that we caught you on the road. You're used to being around crowds. You're used to being around people. You're used to being out and being your lovely selves. How do you have any way that you process that? Is there anything you do to keep your sanity?
Being on the road or being in quarantine?
No, I mean, not being on the road, I would say. I mean, maybe it's a welcome respite. If it is, that's fine.
I think that I think not being on the road is hard for us. I think that Rachel and I have experienced, to be very honest with you, have experienced something that we've never experienced, which not being on the road, right?
Yeah, because I mean, since
day one,
like, hey, Rachel's my girlfriend. I've been everywhere, man.
Yes.
No.
So the question is,
anyway,
now that you've admitted what I was trying to pull out of you, I mean, are you just toughing it out, or I mean, are you reaching? Do you talk to people on the phone? How are you processing this change in your life? Is there anything you're doing specifically?
I think I'm focusing on I'm doing an album, a record. So I'm focusing on that, getting that done. Something I've always wanted to do, and
he goes into his office, he shuts the door and plays music, and I'm writing a script.
Yeah. And we look at the schedule and go like, another fucking show is canceled.
Yeah.
All right.
And then we're like, back to whatever we aren't doing.
I like that. Back to what we aren't doing. I like that. Okay, we're going to do a commercial break. When we come back, we'll toss it back over to Mr. Chad Harlan. Everybody, you're watching Scarefest Television. Do you feel lost in life? Do you seem to be stuck in emotions that are not yours? Is your home not the sanctuary it should be? Contact Spirit Mechanics. where they take a team approach to your metaphysical and spiritual problems. Spirit Mechanics specializes in aura cleansing, stone attunement, attachment removal, and house cleansings. Spirit Mechanics tailors their approach to your individual spiritual path and needs. Now find them monthly at the Central Kentucky Mystical Market in Lexington. Or on Facebook by searching Spirit Mechanics, that's MECHANIX. Spirit Mechanics, for your spiritual health and well-being.
Hey, Scarefest fans, this is Joe Lewis. Now, if you're stuck home like I am with your children and you're trying to find something that's Halloween-y, maybe put you in a good mood because you guys are freaks and Halloween's important to you, and we all understand that. You may be thinking about, what can I watch with me and my children? Now, if you're me, you just go ahead and put Return of the Living Dead on and you rewatch that Linnea Quigley scene over and over and try to impress on the boy how, anyway, I'm a bad parent. I've been looking for things, and there was a movie that I missed a couple years ago. It came out in 2018. It's called A House with a Clock in It's The House with a Clock in Its Walls. Jack Black and Cate Blanchett. This is based on a young adult novel written by John Bellairs many, many years ago. A lot of you are big fans of it. I've actually never read it. I wanted to see it. It's directed by Eli Roth. Now, this would be Eli Roth's first. I don't want to call it a kids movie. I don't like that term. Some things are kids movies, but for example, Pixar to me makes family entertainment. This is a family film. Eli Roth gave us Hostel Part 2. This movie, I liked quite a bit. There's some problems I have with it that we'll get into, and no, it's not with the third act, Wes. The screenplay was written by Eric Kripke. If you know, or that sounds familiar, he gave us Supernatural. He is the creator of Supernatural. He's not really written for the show since after the 5th season. He left after that and was still going strong. This is the last season. But I enjoyed it. I'd like to go back and read the novel. I think I'd be interested in reading John Bellairs' work. It's basically about a young orphan named Louis Barnevelt. His mom and dad die, and he has to go live with his creepy uncle in a magical house. And his creepy uncle is played by Jack Black, and his friend is Cate Blanchett. And then that's where the movie goes off. So I think it's a perfect Halloween family film. In the sense of, is it a perfect movie? No, but it's a perfect family film to watch if you want to be either in the Halloween spirit or at Halloween. I love the house. I love the production design. My big flaw with it, other than the jokes are just a little too kid-like sometimes, is that it tries to be a Joe Dante film. And I kept wishing it was directed by Joe Dante, because it doesn't quite hit the mark. It's produced by Spielberg. It's a movie from Amblin. If you're of a certain age, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Joe Dante gave us Gremlins 2. I just think it was trying to get there. Inner Space is another great Joe Dante movie. It's trying to get there, but it doesn't quite get it. That 80s feel. It's close, but it's not quite there. It's not a bad movie. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Now, it's a little rough maybe for kids under 4 or 5. I showed it to my 2.5-year-old. He was okay with it. He didn't get too upset. But I highly recommend, if you're stuck at home trying to cheer yourself up and think about Halloween, check out The House with a Clock in Its Walls, okay? I'm going to try to do more of these family films, specifically because we are stuck at home. We do have our children. And I want you to know that there's stuff out there that is, I don't necessarily want to call it horror, but movies that have maybe a darker tone or a Halloween feel that could cheer us up. It did make me cheerful. It did make me think about Halloween. The plot is a little slightly convoluted, but it's not too dark. It's not too scary. And some of the CGI is a little questionable. But I enjoyed it. If you're out there and you're looking for something to try out with the kids, The House with a Clock in Its Walls. Stay safe, and I'll see you all in the Fall Scarefest.
And welcome back, everybody, to Scarefest Television. During the break, I got a text from Nicole saying how much she was enjoying tonight's show, and then she tried to call and tell me. I don't answer the phone during the show. No, I don't care if it's the fire department telling me my yard is burning. I do not answer the phone. So everybody, we're back with Christopher and Rachel Booth now. We're going to toss it over to Chad Harlan. Before I do that, Fifth Holler coming up at 10 o'clock at the end, top of the hour. Fifth Holler, episode 3. Have faith. Stick around for that after the show, everybody.
I'm going to guide it a little different. We've been talking about the artifacts and stuff, but I know you've done a lot of paranormal documentaries, and you've visited and been to a lot of really crazy places that you've gotten great footage from. Can you kind of give me an idea of what were some of your favorites, or what some of your favorite experiences at those places were?
Well, Wavell Sanatorium is probably one of my favorites. It started everything with channel, and I think I fell in love with that. I think one of the scariest Discovery Channel Exorcism Live at the Real Exorcist House, that is something that I would definitely never want to ever go back again. And that one has a lot of dark energy. I wouldn't even go into the place at all. But St. Albans Sanatorium is an incredible place. Ashmore Estates is cool. You know, there's all of them are very, very cool. I do enjoy going to St. Albans Sanatorium, though, because that place has actually 14 real isolation cells you can go into and hang out, and that is cool.
That place freaks me out a little bit, though. But I love it. This is probably, as far as like getting really cool Class A EVPs. I mean, we've gotten a lot of Class A EVPs, but I mean, as far as evidence in like large, like floods, I feel like we got a lot at St. Albans.
It's like heavy.
Yeah.
You know, Waverly is heavy. If you've been to Waverly, it's very heavy. Oppressed. And St. Albans is very, it's calling out for someone to tell the story. And we've been down there a few times filming it. So it's a great place.
Well, that was like, I think the first time I saw like full-bodied things. I'm not going to get...
Let's have your first attachment.
My first attachment happened at St. Albans. It was very intense. It was something it took like 3 or 4 days to kind of go, okay, I got to deal with this. This is kind of terrifying. And actually, one of the reasons why I don't like the suitcase I was talking about earlier is the guy that created this suitcase, he drew a picture of this weird creature, and it freaked me out because it looked like the creature that I had seen at St. Albans that actually attached onto me. And that's kind of where I was like, you know, not today. I'm good. Like, I don't need that in my life anymore. You know, I kind of dealt with that, got rid of it. And now confirmation that somebody else has seen it. I've been validated and I'm good. I don't need this anymore, you know? But it's, you know, it's interesting to see the point of view, like somebody crazy has seen it. So
I have to say, it feels really good though, to help, to know that you're helping them, you know, I guess he'll have more peace or crossover, and you never really know that you do that. But it feels really good when you're there respectfully and you're going like, I want to help tell the story and tell the truth so that you can, you know, maybe move on. And that feels really good. And I think that's one of the main reasons we really do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. It's give a voice to the people that don't have a voice.
I mean, that kind of shit's still going on today, you know. The thing in St. Albans is an abortion. An abortion or a miscarriage and a murder and a crazy love affair, being abandoned. All that stuff is happening today. And it's like we're telling the story of the ghosts, and it's connecting with women today. And it feels really beautiful to actually tell the story, and hopefully people will connect to it today and they go like, wow.
And even to give people healing while they're alive so that they don't get stuck in the same place that these people have been. And that's such a big thing for me, because I see these people that are suffering that actually, you know, they cling to the paranormal. Some people, because they're damaged and they feel like if they could find answers for other people, then maybe what they've gone through isn't so bad if they can help somebody else go through it. get to the other side. So I feel like if we can tell these people's stories, it can encourage people to help themselves in this life so that when they do, move on, that they will go to the light or to the next stage.
There's no baggage they're carrying.
Yeah.
So
Oh, goody. Skype has completely frozen. We've lost internet.
Toss back over to.
There we go.
I'm going to toss back over to Wes in just a minute to wrap up, but I wanted to take a second to just thank you all for spending some time with us tonight. Like I said, you're always one of the first exhibits I look for when I get to Scarefest every year, just because I know you're going to bring so much positivity, and look forward to seeing you this year.
I was going to say, what my favorite thing about quarantine is that you don't have to wear pants when you do interviews. And that's what I've just noticed we forgot to do.
We're not wearing pants. This is just terrible.
That's okay. Wes and I aren't either.
Yay, no pants party.
Oh, really? Let's see. Come on. Let's see.
I'm not wearing pants as usual, but I did change my underwear just for Rachel. I could have. That was about a 50-50 shot there of things I wanted to see tonight. Now, since I think it's a good. This is a perfect opportunity. Perfect opportunity for me to flirt once again with Rachel. First of all, if you ever need me to remove an attachment, you just give me a holler. And if you just need me to check you for ticks, that's good too.
Help her in and out of her.
My back itches. Would you like to scratch it?
So
bring Anita over. I'll have her do it.
That's generally the way. Yeah, that's the answer I usually get. Yeah, I've been married long enough to have already learned how to leverage that one into the conversation. Don't you worry. Everybody, before we let everybody go, I want to remind everybody, support the Scarefest Television and the Scarefest sponsors. If you go to thescarefest.com, look down that right-hand bar. This has been hard on so many businesses. All of my people are pretty much shut down except for Blue Leaf Naturals because they can still do mail order. Hopefully, I need to check with Mark over at Akashic Awareness and see if they've got opening dates. If they've got any plans on opening as we come out of this. Spirit Mechanics, look them up on Facebook. Tell them you heard about them on the show. Just talk to the boys. Coming up at the top of the hour, my commercial for Coyote Chris Sutton. Please let him know you appreciate the support they give the show. Chris is he's got one of those what do they call it? Not telemarketing. In other words, he can work from home and come out okay. Maybe telemarketing. Who the hell knows? I don't know.
Male prostitute.
I was gonna say, when I called him, it was a phone sex line, but
yeah, exactly. Hi, I'm Coyote.
I'm Coyote Chris, and this is live. Ooh, yes.
1-800.
Don't touch me from 6 feet.
All right, before you know, don't give him a porn name, Chris. You gave me a porn name, and that is my special. That's mine and yours special moment when you gave me my porn name. Once again to recap. I do need to give out. Okay, I can't believe she wants me to give this out on the internet. But Nicole Griffith's phone number is 859-338-2514. People who won the contest tonight, text her with your name and which entry was yours. Why she doesn't want to just look it up on Facebook, I don't know. But Amazon / bank account, you were first place. Then our runner-ups were Zoom meeting and knocking on the door. Just say not knocking on door. That she'll know who you are then. Give her your names so she can text you. She's going to send the coupon to your phone, basically, the gift card I guess that's what she's doing. I don't know. Should have another contest for you next week because we're not out of this yet. Stick around for the fifth holler coming up. And I say it like they say it down in the mountains, you notice? Fifth holler, because it's set in the mountains. They even spell it that way. It's not hollow, it's holler. Fifth holler, Have Faith, episode 3. Lou Temple was our special super celebrity announcement, and watch the show next week. He's going to be our special celebrity guest. Everybody, stick around. We'll be right back with the fifth holler.
Coyote Chris Sutton.
Shamanism.
Spiritual advisement.
Paranormal investigations.
Inspirational presentations.
Bringing light to the darkest places for over 20 years. Go to coyotechris.com to learn more.
Cold, cold wind blowing here tonight. A chill in the air. Honey, something ain't right. I see the writing on the wall, and I hear the bell toll. But Lord, it's so hard letting go. I can close my eyes, hear all I see. Your haunting voice tortures me. Touch these walls, yeah, memories flow. Lord, it's so hard letting go.
Well, Alex finally made it back. Y'all finished up in here, or is there any more?
No, we were just about to wrap things up.
Well, there is one more thing. In the past, when the girls have gone missing, nobody's ever been attacked and given a message like Charlie was.
Annie, you tell your ghost stories again. They don't have time for that stuff.
No, Mark, only telling the facts. I hope to see you guys at church tonight. You know, Pastor Stone, he gives a really good sermon. It really opens up the soul, very inspirational. See you later.
Yeah, Annie's right about that. Pastor Stone really gives a great sermon. He really brings down the fire and brimstone.
Well, then, I guess we'll just have to go to tonight's sermon.
Agreed. We might be able to find more information there. I think I'll give Director Barnes a call before we go.
That's good. Mark and I will go ahead and head on over to his desk, and we'll go ahead and be making plans for the day.
Why don't we grab a cup of coffee before we make some plans?
That sounds great. I could sure use an eye-opener of Java this morning.
Hey Shane, what you doing out here? Just hanging up some trail cams. Call it pre-planning for deer season.
One would think
The way you say you know these hollers like the back of your hand, that you wouldn't need any of that.
Well, you never know what you're going to catch on one of these. Deer, turkey, elk, anything.
Yeah, maybe somebody with a cell phone?
You know, I could ask why you're out here. What are you doing so far from the safety of your desk?
Me? I'm just out here getting some fresh air. This country air is great for you.
Fresh air out here in the holler? Think you're lost. Here, I'll point you in the direction of town.
I strongly suggest you take your hand off of me right this minute.
Must be hard for you to be looking for something when you can't see. Tell me something. What are you really doing out here?
You know where you need to put your cameras? Around your crazy friend Annie's neck. She's calling in B&Es when she's seeing ghosts. She's crazy. She needs to stay away, and so do you, because she could get hurt.
Are you threatening Annie? Because nobody threatens me or my friends.
Don't make threats. Hey, haven't you heard? The fifth holler's dangerous out here. You shouldn't be here.
Yep, so am I.
Shane! Run! Next time I catch you out here, it'll be your last!
Well, good evening, Sheriff. Glad to see you. Looks like you brought some friends with you.
Yeah, Pastor Stone, this is Agents Lewis and Richards, taking a town citizen of missing girls.
Good to see you all. Glad to have you.
Glad y'all can make it tonight. Hope you enjoy the service. Thank you. This is my assistant, Lee Daniels. That's Mr. Lewis, church assistant.
If you all don't mind, I'd love to have a talk with you all after the service tonight. I have some questions for you.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Should have plenty of time after today's sermon. I'll tell you whatever I can, as much as I can. I'll be glad to talk to you.
I'm looking forward to your sermon tonight, Pastor.
Absolutely.
We have heard that your sermons are pretty inspirational.
Well, I do what I can and put out what I can to whoever's willing to listen to me.
It's good.
All right, I now want to invite Pastor Stone for the sermon of the day. Everybody give him a hand.
I appreciate that. That was some mighty fine singing. Thank you, Mark. I tell you what, every Sunday's good, but it just seems like some just take you to a whole different level, and I sure appreciate that. Folks, we got a short little sermon this morning. We've got some visitors today, folks. If you haven't had an opportunity, go by and greet them and welcome them here to our small little congregation here in Raylan. Glad to have you all with us. And I did want to make an announcement that there is going to be a little town hall meeting right after the service today. So be sure to stay around for that. We have our Vice Mayor here. Glad to see you here. If y'all would like to hang out for that. We know that Paul wrote to the Church of Corinth. See, the Church of Corinth was pretty much in the same situation we are, like we are here in Raylan. They didn't have a whole lot of the modern conveniences that some of the rest of the world had, and they like to get together and talk a lot. And they like to get together and talk a lot. And that's a wonderful thing. It's good when we get together and we talk, but sometimes that can be bad when we're not all on the same page. So I really like the idea of this town hall meeting and getting together and putting our heads together and let's all get on the same page. Because Paul told that church in Corinth, one of that early churches, he said, our God's not the God of confusion. He's a God of peace and love and understanding. So keep that in mind, and if y'all can come out this afternoon, that'd be wonderful. And if not, we'll understand. I've got a short little sermon today, and it's going to be out of the book of Hosea. That's right after Daniel, if y'all want to turn to that. The book of Hosea was written about 700 years before the birth of Christ, and Israel was in a pretty good situation at that time. They were probably doing as well as they had ever done as a nation, going all the way back to the time of Solomon. but they were starting to get some people in the area, and they were starting to associate with people that weren't from their area. So that kind of sets up where we're at in this lesson. And have any of y'all been outside of Raylan? That may seem funny to you all on the front row, but my grandfather, as far as we know, never spent a night away from his farm. He slept every night of his life in the same house he was born in. On those rare occasions when I have to go west or go north or leave this territory, I always miss it. It always feels like home. And they've got interesting places to eat. One of the places I like to eat is a Chinese restaurant. We don't have any here in Raylan, but I like to go to some of the cities outside of here and eat at those Chinese restaurants. Have y'all ever been to them?
Oh,
And at the end, they give you what they call a fortune cookie. Now, it doesn't look anything like these cookies we make here. These things that they serve look like those little coin purses we had when we were kids that we put our pennies in. And you break them open and they'll have some writing on them. And on the back, it'll have a word in Chinese and it'll try to define it. And I always think that's interesting. I'll look on the back and I'll learn a new word. A few weeks ago, I learned the Chinese word for shoe. I don't know when that'll ever come in handy, but if I ever wake up in China one day and I'm missing a shoe, I'll know what to ask for. Well, the people in this book of Hosea, God is speaking to him, and they're having this issue with people coming in from outside of their area, outside of their homeland. And he introduces them to a new word in Hebrew. And we're going to look at that word. It's in the first chapter. And if we begin there in verses 10 through 12, we find out that that word is Lo-Ami, L-O-A-M-M-I. That's Hebrew, and it means not one of us, not belonging to me. God was telling Hosea when he had this child to name him Lo-Ami because he wasn't one of us. And we kind of get like that here in this little community, don't we? We think if somebody's not from here, they're not one of us. We may not say it out loud, but in the backs of our minds and in the bottoms of our hearts and in the depths of our souls, we know that they're not one of us.
I wonder who Pastor Stone's referred to there.
I don't know. It sounds, pretty clear to me who he's talking about.
So I will end this message as I began it. Our God is not the God of confusion. He is the God of peace, of love, and understanding. He'll take care of us if we take care of each other. So as Alex comes to bring our invitation, what are we singing for our invitation hymn?
I'll fly away, brother.
I'll fly away. Great old hymn.
Ask
I'll
everybody
fly
to
away.
stand for us, please.
Don't forget the meeting after the service today. The Vice Mayor's here. Make welcome our neighbors.
All right, please join me.
Some glad morning when this life is o'er, I'll fly away to a rejoice. I'll fly away. I'll fly away.
I think I'll just go ahead and cut out, and I think I'll go check out the youth pastor, see how he's doing with the teens.
I'm going to stick around here right for the song, and that way I might be able to get with Pastor Stone.
Sounds good. Catch up with you.
Okay.
We thank you so much for coming this evening, and we want to pray for you. Please have a safe journey home. God bless you, and I'll see you next week. Dismissed. Good job, Brother Mark. Thank you for coming out to see
Great sermon, Pastor.
Appreciate it. Good to see you.
Good as always.
Goes well?
Yeah, me too.
Not sure if I'll be there or not. I hope you understand. Other people wanted to see me.
Pastor Stone.
Yes.
I enjoyed that sermon. It was very enlightening.
Well, I appreciate it. It's good to let them know that they don't need to worry. And if we put things in God's hands, everything will work.
Pastor, let me ask you a question, and I would like for you to give me an honest answer.
Well, hell, I'm a pastor. I really don't have a whole lot of choice in that matter, do I, other than to give you an honest answer.
So you think there's something about this myth of the soul taker maybe being a copycat type person? What's your take on that?
Here again, I really can't get into that. I'm a pastor. I'm a spiritual leader. People make choices. Some good, some bad, some I understand, some I can't figure out. I believe, personally, some of these girls have just run off. Or they've taken advantage of the situation and just got out of town while the getting was good and used this as an excuse to get away. But I can't speculate on that. That'd be for you all to look into. You've got people that do that. I'm trained in this.
Thank you for the time, Pastor. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak with you about this. We'll see each other again.
Oh, I'm sure we will.
All right, guys, if you could all please turn to page 4 of your lesson plans. We'll get started on today. And we actually have a special guest with us today. This is Special Agent May Lewis with the FBI. She'll be joining us.
Hey, everybody. Don't mind me. I'm just visiting.
Now, the lesson for today is basically how powerful faith can be and how powerful the lack of faith can be. More specifically, we're going to be discussing how the soul taker and this whole fifth holler myth plays into that.
But what about all those strange happenings that happen and the girls going missing?
And what about Jeannie and Carly? And just like all the other girls in the past, they just went vanished, just in thin air with no evidence, no suspects, anything.
All right, guys, listen. Look, I grew up here too, okay? So I know all about the fifth holler and the soul taker, okay? When I was in high school, I was on the varsity team my senior year, and we played this great soul taker prank on the cheerleaders. They screamed like banshees, okay? But that shows the strength of the superstition involved with the soul taker and the fifth holler myth here, okay? It's just not real.
Myth, superstition, or whatever it is you want to call it. What are we supposed to do when we have friends and family who are missing? What if they don't get found?
Charlie, we pray to stay strong. We lean on each other when our faith feels like it's becoming weak. We stay alert to everything around us, and we never give up. To give up is to lose hope, and there's always hope. The Lord will protect them wherever they go.
Amen.
Thank you, Lee, for listening to us, and we knew you'd be able to guide us and bring us together.
It's my pleasure. You know, if any of you guys need anything, just call me. You all have my cell phone, you know. Well, it looks like main service is leaving now, so you guys have a great night. Thank you. And thank you. See you guys.
Bye. See ya.
Wow, you really seem to connect with the teens.
Yeah, well, it doesn't hurt that I wasn't a teen too long ago anyway, so, you know, it helps.
Well, how well did you know Jeannie Willis and Carly Monroe?
Pretty well. Both very intelligent, very fun girls. You know, they like to have a good time, but in the right way, you know, so to speak. But they were both also kind of gullible, I guess you could say, especially with the whole soul taker myth.
Well, what makes you say that they were gullible?
Well, Carly looks up a lot to her cousins, especially Susie. Susie helps out a lot with Miss Hensley there at the antique shop, and she's been listening to Annie's ghost stories for so long that they're almost like gospel to her now. Yeah.
I understand that Jeannie is not from this area, so how does she fit into all this?
Yeah. Well, Jenny's dad is from the area, you know, but he does a lot of traveling still for his job and whatnot. So as soon as they moved here, Jenny pretty much latched on to Carly and her cousins immediately. He was really happy that she was able to make friends so quickly. So, yeah.
Has she ever spoken to you about leaving Raylan?
No, not really. But, I mean, growing up here, I wasn't sure if I was going to spend my whole life here or not, you know? Wasn't really heading down the right path, so to speak, back then. But then I started listening to Pastor Stone, and things just changed. I was drinking way too much back in those days. But Pastor Stone, he saved me. Gave me a sense of purpose.
Okay, well, I'll keep that in mind.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks again.
All right. Oh, by the way, I was going to mention something to you. If you soak that hand in some warm Epsom salt water, that should help take that swelling right out.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Have a good day.
You too.
Again, I want to thank each and every one of you all for coming out this afternoon. I know you have other things to be doing, but we feel this is very necessary. Vice Mayor Thompson would like to address some of your questions, some of your concerns. I'd like to bring them up right now. Vice Mayor Thompson.
Thank you, Preacher.
Thank you for coming out today. Thanks for doing it.
Yes, I would like to tell you the reason that I called a town meeting tonight, and that's to let everyone know that the FBI and the Sheriff's Department are requesting that everyone stay away from the mines and not to be out after dark. Now, if you must go out, please take someone with you.
I got sweat out.
Everyone quiet down. Not going to get anything done. Everybody talking at once.
Thank you, Sheriff. First, I'd like to thank everybody for staying over after services tonight so that we can discuss what's been happening. Well, this meeting is about 2 girls missing from our community. I'd like to address your concerns and to put a stop to some of the rumors going around our town.
Rumors, nothing. My little girl's missing. What I want to know is what's law enforcement doing about this? All I see you all doing is sitting around and talking all the time.
Now, I know they are doing a lot more than just talking. Sheriff Robbins, would you care to take this question?
Adam, we don't have any leads. We don't have any suspects right now. We're doing all we can. We can't release anything to the public because it might tip off whoever's doing this. That's the best we can do.
Are you saying the kidnapper is someone in our community?
No, Rose, I'm not saying that. I just can't say what we do know.
Well, the Sheriff's Department is working closely with the FBI to find the 2 missing victims.
The victim has names. Carly Monroe, Jenny Wells. My cousin and my best friend, and I miss them both.
Thank you, Monica, for reminding that the girls do have names. But in a community as small as this, where everybody knows everyone, sometimes it's best to leave personal connections aside so that we can focus primarily on the crime itself.
Doesn't make a lick of sense to me. I'm not here to argue about names versus victims. I want to know what's being done.
Kirk, what steps are being taken to make sure that this doesn't happen again? My students are afraid to even leave their homes.
That's true. Since Monday, 30% of our students have been kept at home. Their parents are afraid that if they come to school, they may be hurt.
Well, I hate to hear that, because that means the students are missing out on their education. Sheriff, could you address the safety issue and what they might do to better protect themselves?
Sure, on a monthly basis, the Sheriff's Department offers a self-defense class taught by Alex and firearms class taught by Mark here, at a minimal fee, of course.
And so how many of you have taken any of these classes? Please, raise your hands.
Sure, if anyone would like to sign up for the classes, come to the sheriff's office this morning, talk to Alex, sign up. Knowing how to defend yourself may keep you from becoming the next victim.
Well, what's being done with these mines? I've heard that these kids have been up there messing around that fifth holler. Have you guys checked to make sure there hasn't been a possible sinkhole up there?
That was their first thought, too. The area's been checked for sinkholes, any openings. Nothing's been found.
Speaking of the mines, isn't that where Charlie McCoy was beaten up at? What was he even doing up there?
Yes, Charlie did get beaten up pretty good. I think that was a matter of him being at the wrong place at the wrong time.
What does that even mean?
He was there for personal reasons that didn't have anything to do with the mines or the missing girls. It's times like these that we need to keep our heads about us and we need to keep our faith. He's lucky that he didn't get hurt a lot worse than what he did.
So are there any suspects, or does Charlie even know who beat him up?
That's a twofold question. There are no suspects. Charlie's not filed a complaint.
Well, what if the one that jumped him is the one that kidnapped the girls?
Still need to file a complaint before we can do anything.
So we're just going to sit here and let the teenagers be attacked or even taken again?
No, that's why we're here tonight. Try to keep this from happening to someone else.
Charlie doesn't remember much at all about the attack. He was knocked unconscious. He was saying something about maybe a dark figure with some glowing eyes or something. But the important part is he's doing all right. Could have been a lot worse.
I'm scared. Why are we even here? Why do they want us here? We haven't done anything. I don't know, Carly, but what I do know is we need to stick together no matter what. We need to keep our strength by eating whatever they bring us. We also need to sleep when we can so we don't get exhausted. We can do this. What would anybody know from us? We're just kids. You know, I saw on TV that in other countries, teenage girls are being sold as sex slaves or just being tortured for fun. I hope it's none of that, and I hope we get found soon. You do think we're going to get found, right? Yes, but in the meantime, we need to stay as calm as possible, do what they say, and hopefully we'll be found soon.
You will not be easily found, and you're right under their noses.
You can't be real. You look just like the description of the soul taker that took Annie's father.
I'm as real as your sweet, sweet cousins, Susie and Monica. Is that real enough for you?
Leave her alone. You don't need to threaten us. You already have us in this cage.
You have no right to make any demands.
You had no right to take us either, but you did.
Oh, I'm not finished with you yet.
Stop it. Can't you see Carly's already scared?
Maybe not scared enough.
What do you want with us? Our families have no money to pay a ransom.
It's not money I want. I want your purity.
Our what?
You will come to understand in due time. When it's time for you to be ready, here's your dinner.